What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the College Basketball Report. The past couple days have been awesome for college basketball. Today is going to be another awesome day for the sport. So, with that, let's get right into it. My first match of the day has got to be Tennessee versus number 8 Florida. The 1 seed versus the 8 seed in the nation. What a matchup we have here. I could definitely see this one going down in March. Let's get into this game. Today is a stacked day for college basketball. Should be fun. Tennessee and Florida, two great schools. If we look at the game cast here, Chaz Lanier, Walter Clayton Jr. have been stars for both their teams. Zakai Zeigler for Tennessee, Igor Milicic for Tennessee as well. Alex Condon. Those couple of guys have been great for their teams and has contributed to them in great ways this season. Tennessee last 5 have played great. They just beat Arkansas, beat Illinois at Illinois. Tough place to play for them. But they pulled it out with that game-winning layup. Florida, their last 5, lost a tough one at Kentucky at Rupp Arena. Only by 6 points, though. So, not a bad loss there for them. Only losing by 6. Kentucky, Kobe Brea is probably the hottest shooter right now in college basketball. Maybe even the best so far this season. He is a stud. Other than that, Florida's been playing great ball. They stayed in that game all the way to the very end. They were up by 11, starting out for the game, and then Kentucky just wouldn't stop making their shots. So, not a bad loss there for Florida. Let's get into Tennessee here. The Volunteers have had a great year. Went to Louisville, Virginia, Baylor, Syracuse, Illinois, great win. Arkansas, great win. Other than that, all these teams right here, Baylor seemed like a great win at the time. Doesn't look as good of a win as it did seem then. Illinois, that looks like a great win now. Illinois top 10 team, or on the border of it. They are great right now. Beat Syracuse by 26. Great win. But they are going into Gainesville, Florida. Tough game for them. Chaz Lanier, Igor Milicic, Zakai Zeigler. Those are your studs. I would say, in my opinion, maybe people were disagreeing on this one, but I think Chaz Lanier is a better overall player than Dalton Knecht was last year. He's just better on defense. He's brought the same offensive caliber that Dalton Knecht had. I like this Tennessee team. Let's go on to the Florida here. Florida's 0-1 in conference play, 13-1 though. Suffered their only loss right here. Both these teams haven't had the greatest strength of schedule. Kentucky, they played Kentucky really close in that one at Kentucky. Beat North Carolina, beat Arizona State. Haven't had a really great win this year, and that's kind of been the story for Florida. Can they get a win against a top caliber team? And Walter Clayton Jr. and Will Richard for them have been playing awesome this year. They are studs. If you look at the stat leaders for this one, obviously Elijah Martin as well, and Alex Condon. Can't forget about those guys. They've been playing great. So both these teams have star power, which is why they're in the top 10. SEC is stacked this year. I don't know how to feel about these two teams, but I'm going to have to side with the Gators in this one. I think Tennessee falls, the last unbeaten team in the nation. I like the Gators in this one. I think Walter Clayton Jr. will have another great game. Give me the Florida Gators. Tennessee does have a great defense, but I think Florida will crack it. I could be wrong. Tennessee could surprise me in this one, but I like Florida. They look great against Kentucky. I think they're going to look great against Tennessee today. Give me Florida in that one. For my second game of the night, a stacked night for college basketball in general. I'm going to have to go to 10 p.m. here. Michigan and UCLA. If we look at the game cast here, these two teams, top 20 teams. UCLA had that great win versus Gonzaga. Michigan's averaging 84 points a game. That's one of the tops. That's one of the highest in the nation. Their offense is solid. If you look at the team stats here, they're leading them in almost every single one. Let's look into Michigan here. Michigan Wolverines, number 24 in the nation, 11-3, first in Big Ten right now, tied with Michigan State. Went against Wisconsin, Xavier, TCU. Their 3 losses this year have not been bad losses. Lost to Arkansas by 2. Arkansas came back down from like 16 or 17 in that game. Was an awesome comeback for the Razorbacks there. Came back to beat the Wolverines by 2. Lost to Oklahoma only by 1, and then lost to Wake Forest by 2. So all 3 of their losses, they've lost by a combined 5 points. So tough draw for them there. Michigan is a solid team. Vladimir Golden has also been playing good for them, and Trey Donaldson for Michigan. Those have been solid. Let's look into UCLA here. UCLA coming off a tough loss against Nebraska. They did beat Oregon by 2, great win, beat Arizona. Lost to North Carolina. They were up by 18 in that game. North Carolina came back, beat them by 2. It was at Madison Square Garden. So, neutral site game. Not a bad loss right there. Only by 2. Lost at Nebraska by 8. Not a bad loss. Nebraska's a great Big Ten team. They're 12-2. Gonzaga, great win versus Gonzaga in that one. Lost to New Mexico. Not a bad loss. It looked like a bad loss from the start of the year, but now, if you look at this New Mexico team, the New Mexico Lobos, they're great, 12-3, up there with Utah State. In that Mountain West Conference, could have some people coming out there, like New Mexico, Boise State, and Utah State. I like those teams coming out there. Other than that, this conference is a little bit funky. San Diego State also there. Let's head back to UCLA here. If we look into UCLA, they're 6th in Big Ten. They're 2-1 in conference play. Tyler Bilodeau for them, Kobe Johnson have been playing great. I think I like the Bruins in this one. I like them beating Michigan. It's a tough place to play at UCLA. In California, tough to go against there. But yeah, with that, I'm gonna have to go with UCLA beating Michigan tonight at 10 p.m. late game on Peacock. For the last game of the night, very tough picking between these games, but a couple of these matchups are good. Like you got Arizona, West Virginia, Kentucky, Georgia, but I'm gonna have to go with Mississippi State and Vanderbilt. These two teams have been surprisingly good this year in the SEC. Stacked conference, like I've been saying. For Mississippi State, obviously Josh Hubbard, 17.7 points a game. He's been awesome. Cameron Matthews also there. Mississippi State's been solid this year. Destroyed South Carolina, beat Memphis, beat Pitt. They have 2 ranked wins on the year. Lost to Butler by 10. That's their only loss. Butler has not been great, so that's interesting loss there, but they came back and then beat Pitt by 33. So I don't really know how to feel about this Mississippi State team. They've had some solid wins there. Have had that interesting loss. This Mississippi State's team is hard to get a grasp at, especially with Vanderbilt here. Mississippi State favored by 3.5. Gonna be a close game here. Obviously, teams have been unbeaten in the last 5 games. Vanderbilt also has been great. The Commodores are kind of playing sneak here. Had a tough road win at LSU. It's hard to play on the road in the SEC, and we've seen that. All the home teams in the SEC on Saturday won, besides LSU. And that was the only away team that got a win this year, or this season so far for the SEC, knocking down LSU. Other than that, they beat TCU, lost to Drake by 11. Not a bad loss. Drake has been on a rough stretch these past couple games on a 2-game losing streak. Let's see if they can bounce back in that one. Seton Hall, they've been surprisingly bad this year. They've been great the past couple years, but I think they only have 5 or 6 wins right now. Not a great season for Seton Hall. They beat Nevada, great win. Beat Cal, great win. This Vanderbilt team, AJ Hoggard, Jason Edwards, those two have been playing great ball. Obviously, Jalen Carey as well. Man, these two teams are very hard to pick who I would think would win. But I think if I'm going to go with a hotter team here, I think I'm going to have to go with Vanderbilt. I like them pulling off another win. I like the Commodores as a team. I like Mississippi State. These are two tough teams, both 13-1. One of them is going to have to get that second loss. I don't know who's going to win this game. It's so hard to pick, but I want to go with the Commodores in this one, winning a close game. I want to be surprised. I've said that a couple times, but Mississippi State is also great, so I'm not disrespecting Mississippi State. I just like the Commodores right now and how they're playing. But that's my top 3 games for today. Quick recap of yesterday. Houston beat TCU. I went 3-0 on my picks. Wisconsin pulled off a close game against Rutgers. Doesn't look close according to the scoreboard, but Rutgers was down by 2 at one point in the second half. I also stayed up super late last night watching the ending to Ohio State and Minnesota. Final 89-88. Went into 2 overtimes. Wow, that was an insane game if we look into this one right here. Against Minnesota. These two teams were very close with each other the entire time. But a terrible mistake by a Minnesota guard fouled Ohio State with 5 seconds left. They were up by 2. They didn't need a foul. He didn't know the score, so they fouled him. Ohio State went up, knocked down their 2 free throws, and they ran away in the second overtime, with Minnesota trying to come back, but they just couldn't get it done. So that was a great game. Also, Texas Southern beating Grambling was a great game. So we had 2 overtime games last night. Texas Southern obviously coming out on that one. But for today, I got Florida beating Tennessee, Vanderbilt beating Mississippi State, and UCLA beating Michigan. So I'm siding with the home teams on this one. Utah State, San Jose State should be an interesting game. I like Utah State and how they're playing right now, 14-1. They've had coaching changes every year for the past couple years now, and they just find out a way to just get wins. I don't know how they're doing it. They're 4-0 in Mountain West play. I like them going deep in March Madness. Marquette, Georgetown, Iowa State, Utah, West Virginia, Arizona should be a good game. Georgia, Kentucky should be a great game. Duke, Pitt could be close. I feel like Duke will pull that one out, though. But that's my top 3 games for today. I hope you guys enjoy your hoops. And that is it for today, Tuesday, January 7th. I'll see you guys tomorrow for Wednesday, where we have a decently stacked couple of games. The biggest one, Texas A&M at Oklahoma. Should be a great SEC showdown. That's my top 3 games, and that's the College Basketball Report. I will see you guys tomorrow.